Tesla's doing a whole lot of things right, and not everyone is happy about that. Some people are convinced that they got to take them down a peg. And how can you do that? Well, you can do it with big old lawsuits. You can do it a variety of ways, but that's what we're going to get into. Who knows, man? Maybe this means that I have to have my buddy Herbert here to help me fight the FUD. That's what we're going to do. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Now, Herbert, spell it out for the audience. What is FUD again?
Fear, uncertainty,
because this is general FUD, right? This is just general FUD.
This is general FUD. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. It's whenever some other, usually a competitor, but in this case, it turns out that it's mainstream media. It's news articles. They shouldn't be doing this. They should be sharing both sides. They should be objective, but they're inserting fear or uncertainty or doubt in any way they can just because of hate, because of, self-dealing, whatever reasons. So you got to watch out for these things because not everything you read is real anymore.
Now, I am going to have to push back because I'm pretty sure General FUD is this gentleman.
That's funny.
Are you telling
Where's
me
this
that's
from?
not? Grok made it for me at my request. And I did say, and then, is that him or is that not real?
I've never met General FUD. I wish that there was no General FUD.
That looks like a cartoon. This is what Grok made when I asked for a photoreal. This is General FUD.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're doing good work here. I don't know if that's true. Tesla shareholder group urges probe. This is dirty. Appropriate remedial action from NASDAQ from over Elon's $29 billion pay package. From NASDAQ, really? What are you talking about? Does this, first of all, does this surprise you?
No, not at all. I mean, any move Tesla makes, there's a lawsuit. This is nothing new. There will always be lawsuits. We'll see if this one, has any legs to it. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, basically, do you know that most companies have reserved shares that they have, then they got that amount approved by the shareholders. Happens in every company. And then you assign those shares to employees, right? You employees come in,
right?
You give them something. Oh, we got a new CFO. Got to reserve some that I can give that person, assign those stock options to that, not shares, stock options. And that's what happened here. There was a significant amount of shares that was already pre-approved by the board long time ago. And they said, okay, we're going to give a lot of that to this one executive, this one person. It could have been the CFO, could have been a CIO, could have been a new AI hire. And they decided to give it to that person. And then the next shareholder meeting on November 6th, there's going to be another equity compensation package that's going to be approved by the shareholders. So I'm not sure if this has any legs. I don't think it does. And I really doubt that Tesla board members would do something that it was egregiously inappropriate, or they'll just get sued anyways.
I think all of those points make sense. I think it's worth noting that, sure, most companies do that, but most companies also pay their CEOs ever, rather than making them work for the better part of a decade for funsies. Tesla really tried to pay him, and apparently one person disagrees, so that's enough. It'll go to appeal. I'm still confident, perhaps naively, that it will be approved, but I don't know on that.
What are you talking about? It's approved.
I'm sorry, on appeal it will be the original will be overturned, and the original statement.
You're talking about the 2018 compensation package that was the judge ruled that one, not this one. That one is going to appeal, and we're pretty confident at this point that it's going to be overruled by the Supreme Court of Delaware, overturned by the Supreme Court of Delaware. So very, very unlikely that they will say, yes, in Delaware, we allow our judges to willy-nilly decide, because there was nothing really there, to just overturn 2 times that the shareholders voted something for the company. So now if you're a company and you're based in Delaware, you're incorporated in Delaware, you have to have this new risk that despite what your shareholders have voted for, that the judge can come in and change that. And if you're doing that, you have to add additional insurance. You have to answer. So they're all leaving. Many, not all, but many companies are deciding, got to get out of here.
If this isn't overturned, I agree with you that more will leave. If it is overturned
You
and
have
the
to.
original pay package is reinstated, this new comp plan evaporates. That's how it's written. This new $29 billion grant evaporates because it is contingent. It is a down payment on what you were supposed to get if they don't make it happen. So this is, the whole thing is pretty cuckoo. Let's get to the second story here because this one's just as exciting. The BBC is reporting, this one is from the BBC, Tesla pledges to make cheaper cars as problems mount. What? What problems are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't even know what he means by pledging to make cheaper cars.
Well, Tesla said it will build cheaper cars and win approval for its self-driving software in Europe this year after seeing sales fall at the sharpest rate in at least a decade.
I guess they're like making it sound like that as problems mount, they're now pledging to make cheaper cars when it doesn't matter what was happening to the company. It could be all positive, all negative. It doesn't matter. They were already going to create cheaper cars for many years already. So that was just weird.
Yeah, and but Herbert, sales have fallen more than in at least a decade of this company that has only been selling cars for like 15 years. So I don't think it's comfortable or fun when, all of the pieces are there. All of the true pieces are there. We've got this seed. Let's plant it and make it into something it isn't.
We'll see what happens end of this year, but I'm still at the 1.8 million vehicle sales for the global, which is basically the same as it was last year. I'm not now. I think it was lower than what we were hoping, that 2 million, like it was going to grow, but it didn't. And then the big part of that is, of course, the Model Y transition to the new Model Y. That was shut down all factories. You're not going to be able to sell anything when you shut down all 4 factories. But I think yes, at the beginning of this year, there was a peak Elon hate. There was a brand damage that certainly affected, I think in Germany, that might be true, but it's pockets. It is pockets that is happening. It's not global. I think in the U.S., people that has already gone by the wayside. You can see the clamoring back again for Tesla's cars. So was it a major issue? We'll see. I don't think so. I think that there was some impact. I just don't think it's as big as people expect it to be based on brand damage.
Another big question I have to ask, this came up in the comments last week when I referred to you as my emotional support, Herbert, is, are you really my emotional support, Herbert? Or did I just buy you a vest on Amazon that says that?
Well, you keep saying that I'm your emotional support person, but I'm actually, I'm not even, you don't even need me, dude. You already know.
I know. But the vest joke from the comments, you guys kill me sometimes. That was wonderful. So all of that is, what advice would you give to people when they see a headline that seems too salacious?
Yeah. Well, so this has been happening to me. My wife has been very interested in Tesla ever since, the peak hate that is happening. She's like, are we in trouble? Are people going to stop buying cars? And then she would forward me every once in a while, quite regularly, here's an article. And I just basically said, let's take a look at this article. So when she gets home, I would pull up the article and we would read it line by line. And I will say, this line, true. This line, true. This line, well, let's what did they mean by that? And they said it this way instead of saying that way. This one, absolutely false, not right. And so this is the thing, right? They will take bits of truth and then tell you the narrative they want to tell you. Now, they have the right to do that. But you as a reader need to be aware that there are there's no news is no longer objective. Now then you question yourself. You say, am I being too much of a fanboy? Am I putting my own rosy colored glasses on something that is too? And that's where shows like this is very good. You need to evaluate everything. Your FUD, like what part of it is right and what part of it is wrong, and and then I think your answer, which is the right one, which is based on data. Really, that's the one who has the most data, and use that data instead of reading articles and trusting what they say. Go right to the source of that data, and then you can make that decision. So this is where I would come when all the data I've read show that there are pockets in Europe that sales have fallen because of brand damage. But it's pockets. It's not Europe is like, it's not global. It's just really a tiny little piece of it. And then what you've done for me so well is articulate and quantify exactly how many cars we did not sell because of the Model Y transition. And it is true that the Model Y transition did not happen as quickly as I initially thought it was going to be, that they were already prepared ahead of time. They're going to do the switchover as like in record time. It took weeks and months afterwards that they've already started selling it before they got pockets of Europe finally get inventory to sell the Model Y. So that contributed to sales. And now I do think that there was brand damage. Absolutely. But it's not this end of the world kind of thing. And, it's not as big as we think. So
if you were all in on the hype train, you would not have said that there was brand damage. There are people all in on the hype train who can't admit that. And so that right there gives some credibility. There are stories we see where I still see them in the comments all the time. Electric cars catch fire too much. Yeah. Why isn't someone doing anything about this? Yeah. Look at the data. And that's a real easy one. That one, I mean, there's no dots to connect. There's like two. You just draw the one line and you're done.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one because that's an example of people saying that electric cars, batteries catch on fire. And then they have somehow forgotten that a gas car has a tank full of combustible liquid. I mean, are they just not, you know what I mean? Like, and they have sparks to create, they force explosions to get the car to move forward.
Combustion is right in the name, you guys.
And because you have all the parts in the front, 1,000 parts in the front there, you don't have enough space to create crumple zones. And because in the Teslas, they have a flat battery that is so hard to break. And then you have all these crumple zones. You're safer. It doesn't roll over. Is that which is logic? And I don't understand how and then let's look at the data. Now let's look at real data to show are a gas car. Anyways, that's a very good example of somebody who would believe something because they read it versus use a little bit of logic to break this down and look at the real data. It's pretty obvious.
Think it through. And I see it I also saw someone recently say, well, I won't buy one because there's too much coal on the grid and coal means the car is less green than it's like, no. Several studies from just please look up what you're claiming.
I mean,
some of these are really tricky.
It's clean coal though. It's clean coal.
Well, the reality is the studies are saying, even if you were on a 100% coal-fired grid, your electric car would still pollute less than if you had a million little power plants under a million little hoods, because you can control it better. You can get maximum efficiency from a central giant turbine than you can from all these individual cars.
That's another good example of when you read an article that says that electric cars are damaging to the environment. You have to, who's the source? And clearly there's big industry. There's big industry that is dying, that is clamoring for, last breaths here. And they're coming out and pumping out this propaganda that is polluting some people's minds.
I do have a final thought to share, but first I wanted to say, guys, check out Herbert's channel. Get brighter, won't you? I always do, and it shows. It's cool. And everybody else, you can leave a comment. Please do. I'd like to hear what you have to say. The videos where we make you smarter. The comments are where you often make us smarter. Here in Nepal, where I still am for another week-ish, less than a week, there is no populist movement against electric cars. There is no campaign of misinformation because there's no domestic oil company pushing it, and there's no domestic auto industry that makes dyno burners pushing it. They exist, in fact, on their own merits. Now, of course, there are tax abatements that make them more affordable than a gasoline car. The fuel itself that you put in, the juice rather than the dyno juice, is 90% cheaper. But there is no one here saying, I will never buy one because, and then they repeat an oil industry lie. That's what happens when you don't have these legacy industries poisoning the information. I think it's pretty fascinating. So, guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. Stay tuned and juicy, won't you? And I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, perhaps when I'm back in town.